I'll be honest, I don't have access to CBS Sports yet, so I gotta figure that out still. I got 15 minutes before MLTT's on there. So if you're here, well, it'll probably be more of the same stuff. And if you do have CBS Sports, you should go find the Major League Table Tennis event and go watch it. Otherwise, bear with me. I'll be around. So hello to the one viewer. I'm trying to figure out how to watch CBS Sports in order to watch the Major League Table Tennis. If you have CBS Sports, you can watch it. So let me know if you like MLTT or whatever. If you have a favorite team or things like that, and I'll start probably assembling a racket because I'm not sure what else to do besides assemble rackets, it appears. Alright, so how am I going to find CBS Sports? I tried Paramount Plus. I tried a free trial, didn't have it. Tried Fubo TV, free trial, didn't have it. Where do I find CBS Sports? Let's see if YouTube TV has a free trial. Alright, YouTube TV has a free trial. I think I can get CBS Sports on there. So, in theory, I'm going to do the free trial and cancel it before I get charged, but I gotta make sure I remember. Okay, I don't need any of these special things. So yeah, if you're here watching, say hi in the comments if you feel like it, or you don't have to either way. I'm just chilling. I have 12 minutes to find CBS Sports somewhere up there. Alright, I think I found it. I hope. Right now it's bull riding on CBS Sports Network, so I guess I'll watch that first. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I found it on the YouTube TV with the free trial, so I have 21 days to cancel it before I get charged $83. And I don't need to do that, so we'll watch MLTT in a little bit. Right now it's bull riding. So if you're my one viewer who's watching, I kind of have to guess whether you're interested in MLTT or the Singapore Smash, or maybe this racket. So if you say in the comments what you care about, I wouldn't have to guess, but I'm going to do all of them anyway. So tonight there's the WTT Singapore Smash. They do the day 2 of the main event, but there's also the Para Showcase, which is neat because you see that athletes who compete in the para events internationally, they'll be there. So if you're not familiar with para table tennis, there's typically 10 classes. 1 through 5 are seated in wheelchairs, 6 through 10 are standing players. And so athletes get classified at some point in their playing career, and it typically lasts throughout their career, although you can be reclassified occasionally. And so tonight, I don't know exactly which class they're playing, but in that men's singles, you have Viktor Diduk from Ukraine, and he's won the big tournaments. I'll have to look up his credentials in a little bit when we talk about it. And then last year's event, I had Will Bailey from the UK versus Punpu from Thailand, and that was a really amazing match, so I definitely recommend the action in the WTT Para Showcase. And then the women's singles event, the second seed in that event is Florencia Perez from Chile, and she won the 2023 Pan American Games in Class 8 and bronze in the Paris 2024 Paralympics. She's like 15 years old, and she's really a promising player, so let's see how she does. She's the second seed, so there's someone ranked above her. And there's a lot of good players in this men's singles as well. And that should be it. It starts at 8:50 p.m. on Eastern WTT YouTube. So that's an hour from now, but probably around 9 p.m. They have 4 tables going, and then there'll be another session later. And this Major League Table Tennis Showcase on CBS Sports starts in 10 minutes. And that should be like highlights, player interviews, things like that. So I'm interested to see it. They did a showcase before on ESPN 2, I think it was, but it was kind of part of, ESPN 2, whatever. As a professional table tennis action is seen on ESPN, pro players from 30 different countries in action. So, I'm not sure if you've heard of Mltt, but it's a pro league in the U.S. And it's been really amazing. This is the Florida Crocs. Let me show you the program a little bit. So in 10 minutes, it'll be on CBS Sports, and you could try and go watch that. As far as I know, I think the match highlights are from a previous event at Westchester Table Tennis Club. It's a week 6 or something, but I'm not sure if that's the case. That's yesterday's stuff. So you got the different players. You have a letter from Flint Lane, the commissioner, on the first page. So he says, "Welcome to Major League Table Tennis." For the Eastern Division, you have 4 teams in the West. So we have the Crocs, Coach Frank Arias, Princeton Revolution, Matthias Hamilton. More teams. You can look it up on mltt.com and learn more about it. Different format. If you're curious about MLTT and want to discuss the format, let me know. Otherwise, you can look it up on their website or just watch a match sometime. Next weekend, there's matches in Broward Table Tennis Club, so you could enjoy that. Here's the schedule. I'll leave you with that for a moment. Yeah, not so easy to see, is it? What was I thinking? So next, February 14th to 16th, Broward Table Tennis Club. And then after that, 2 weeks later, it's in Triangle Badminton Table Tennis Club. So those are 2 clubs that I like a lot. The Broward one I go to often for tournaments. And then Triangle's cool too. March 7th to 9th in Katy, Texas. March 21st, 23, in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. Then the finals are in Philadelphia in April sometime. I think the final 4 teams go, and then they do what they do. So that's MLTT. I recommend watching it on YouTube sometime. It's good. And if you're near an event, you should go because it's fun. So that's MLTT. I'm going to go through some of the WTT results from yesterday because I'm not sure who's playing tonight and what the matchups are. But for example, I don't know if I wrote it down here. Lily Zhang won her match, so we'll see who she's playing. And then Julian Tirita, a young player from Romania. He's been really doing well. He beat Darko Jorgic. And he beat Christian Carlson in qualifying. He beat Darko Jorgic in the round of 64, I think. So there should be some good matches tonight. It's a round of 64 still. So I'll look at that. At some point I've already taken the rubbers off this blade and gave them to someone to use today. So it's ready. This is my Eula Viva blade. It's a 7-ply wood blade. They classify it as fast and high control. So I think it's like a typical 7-ply wood blade. It's kind of direct, crispy, but still some good feeling. It has like a slightly smaller head than some other rackets, I think, to make it a little quicker feeling. And the plan with this is I'm gonna put, I have an old Dignix 80 rubber that I took off a blade the other day, but I think I'm gonna use that, but I actually might not use it. Because I might want to save that for my main setups to use as a practice rubber in a while, even though it's not like in good condition. But this one will be neat. It's called the Mltt 955 Blue Yinhe. It's a long pips rubber with 0.7 millimeter sponge. I'm just making this racket to play for fun in the club. Sometimes we try different rackets and different pips. Some of these rubbers smell so bad. I'm not sure why I put it so close to my face. But the cool thing about this one is, ta-da, it's blue. So I've never had a colored rubber before. This will be the first one besides the black and red, of course. So I have to put this with a black rubber. You can see the pips. Let's see if I put it close, if you can see them. How close? Yeah, so those are long pips. It has 0.7 millimeter sponge. Like that. Yinhe Mltt 955. So I'll put that on at some point. It has a little bit of sponge, so it should kind of go on like a normal rubber. When they have no sponge, you kind of got to be a little more careful, but I've done that a few times actually. So that'll go on this, theoretically it's the backhand, but I guess maybe with this one we'll try and twirl around. Okay, so I got to think what to put on the forehand for that. Yeah. So anyway, it'll be a while. Alright, so the bull riding's just about over. Hopefully it'll be Major League Table Tennis next. I'll be honest, I'm really not going to have much extra offer to any of these things, but it was kind of like doing a live session to put the notice out, and since I'll be sitting here watching it, you can look at my stuff. So just waiting for the Mltt to start. Hopefully it'll be on soon. So if you're just watching, it's not going to be like super exciting, but we're watching Mltt on CBS Sports, which will be exciting, but I can't show it to you, so you should go find CBS Sports. It's starting now. I went to YouTube TV and did the free trial, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to watch it soon. And then I'll put together a racket at some point with long pips and a rubber, and I'm going to finish getting this glue off. You can see that's the Dignix 80 off my racket I took off yesterday. It had the little cut. I'm about halfway through. The sponge is like practically is brand new looking. I just have to, little by little, get the old glue off, and then I'll save that for something else. Got the blue pips. Alright, Major League Table Tennis is starting on CBS Sports, so if you're out there and you're watching this or watching that, let me know. Turn up the volume just a little bit. So they're talking about how last year Texas Smash won the championship with Amy Wong and Nandin Naresh was there and Coach Jorg Bitsigayo. So we'll see the Texas Smash for Seattle Spinners. This was at Westchester. We're talking about the format. So, if you're watching the Mltt on there, hope you enjoy it. If you're here watching this at some point now or in the future, you can see the Mltt format's a little different. Basically 5 active players per match. There's 4 singles matches, 1 doubles match, and then a golden game where the teams alternate pairs. Yeah, I'll be honest. Unless you have questions, you can read about the format online. But if you drop in, definitely say something in the chat if you're watching online. I can't show it to you on the screen, but I'm watching it on YouTube TV with the free trial, so you could do that too. They're highlights from the Westchester match, so maybe this is a few weeks ago, or months. They're showing highlights from Nandin Naresh of the Texas Smash versus Olajide Omatayo of the Seattle Spinners right now. Nandin won the first game. If you have any questions about Major League Table Tennis or anything, I can try to answer. I like to watch it. It's fun. A lot of good players, a lot of good matches. Next week there'll be some more. Go to CBS Sports if you have it to watch some highlights now. I'm going to try to get and then in less than an hour, the Para Showcase will start on YouTube TV. I'll be able to link you to that. You can watch it on YouTube. I'm going to get that set up on my TV also. Alright, so if you're watching, let me know if you're interested in Mltt, WTT, or other stuff, so I could focus my ramblings there. But otherwise, I'm going to talk a little bit about WTT because I'm curious to see who is playing tonight and when. Because I'll probably stay up and watch some of it. It starts at 11 p.m. Eastern time, so that's a little less than 3 hours. Right, scheduled matches. Well, we'll go to completed. Alright, so like I said, Lily Zhang won her round of 64 match. Oh yeah, Tomislav Pucar. He beat Zhou Qihao in the round of 64. I need to find the highlights for that because apparently he played really well, so that's interesting. He won 3-1, round of 64, so he's going on. Hanagoda beat Maria Shao. Like I said, Yulian Jarita, he's playing really well. He beat Darko Jorgic 3-2 and after being down 0-2. Patrick Francisca beat Lim Jong-hun 3-0. The first 2 games were 11-9, so they were close, then 11-7, and he was definitely playing really, really well, so interesting to see how he does. He seems to do well in these big smash events sometimes. Wang Chuqin 3-0, Uda. Togami 3-2 versus Cho Dae-sung of Korea. Jang Woo-jin was 3-0 versus Anders Lin. I watched that. That was good. That was very decisive. Even though it was 7-9-9 as the scores, but still Jang Woo-jin looked really strong. Unfortunately, Sally Moylan lost 2-3 to a player from Taiwan, Jin. And then Amy Wong lost 0-3 to Adriana Diaz. Hina Hayata won 3-0, Felix Lebrun won 3-0, Kalberg 3-1, Dong Cho 3-1. Alright, so that's all the matches that happened. Let's see what's scheduled for tonight. So, the first match in the Infinity Arena tonight is a round of 32 men's doubles. Here, I'll send you the guys the link in the chat just in case you're curious where I'm looking at all of this. I don't know. I always say like you shouldn't click links, just go find it, but there it is. Anyway, men's doubles, round 32. This is in like 3 hours. Lumir Pistache and Cedric Knighting versus Wang Chuting and Yi Kwan To from Hong Kong. And then women's doubles at the same time on table 2. You got Cosio and Vega. So you have Cosio from Mexico and Vega from Chile versus Bernadette Such and Sofia Polkanova. So Such and Polkanova, that's a really tough doubles team. They're both really good. Polkanova always, well, recently has been winning the European Championship. Such has been coming up second. And Such has been doing really well against the really strong Asian and Chinese players. More doubles. Table 3, Duda and Cho versus Robert Gardas and Daniel Havison of Austria. And then it starts singles again. Round of 64, we get Mima Ito versus Kim Na-yoon. This is in the Infinity Arena at 12:35, so that's like 3.5 hours. Also, same time, Lee Sang-soo, Shui Fei, Hayes Woja of China versus Ruja Kula. Okay, here's an interesting one. Vitor Ishii of Brazil versus Kanak Jha of the US. That's at 12:35 Singapore time, so 11:35 here on the East Coast. And Canucks should win that, but that's a fun matchup. A good Pan American matchup. I always mention those. I enjoy that. Jonathan Groth versus N. Yehun. That should be good. That's 64. Well, they're all around the 64. Matsushima plays another Japanese player, Shinizuka. Matsushima just won the All Japan tournament. I think he beat Shinizuka in the finals, and then it was his match versus Harimoto in the semifinals. Really amazing. You should watch that one. Sora Matsushima versus Tomokazu Harimoto in the semifinals of All Japan. Watch that. And at the same time, you should watch Jonathan Groth versus Panagiotis Jonas in the Polish Superliga. They had a crazy match too. So those are good matches to watch. Oh Jun-sung of Korea versus Claudia Runa. Wang Chun-ting versus Lin Shidong. So that's Lin Shidong. That match should be at like 1:20 Eastern time. So it's getting later in the session. Kirill Gerasimenko versus Lin Ru. That's a fun one at that same time. And then the doubles start up again until session 2. So really, if I manage to stay up late, Kirill Gerasimenko versus Lin Ru, that'd be like the last one I would watch probably. And that's it's 4 hours from now. Whatever. And then now we can look at the para showcase as well. That's the commercials on this CBS Sports. So I'm watching MLTT on CBS Sports. They're highlights from a match between the Seattle Spinners and Texas Smash at Westchester Table Tennis Club. It's neat to see MLTT on another network now. They were on ESPN before, now they're on CBS Sports Network, and they say they signed a long-term agreement, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I'll certainly try to watch when I can, although, well, I'll find another way to watch it besides my YouTube TV account, let's say that. trying to find the WTT Para event information. I had it up here. Okay, so I found the information on the Singapore Smash Para draws and things, so I'll go through that a bit. If you're listening and you want to comment on like if you care most about MLTT, WTT, or what, then I'll know what to talk about. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking. So Nandan Naresh is up 2-0 right now against Olajide Omotaya. He won the second one in the goal with a golden point though, 11-10. He had a chance to open his backhand in the middle of the table, but he chose instead to play a controlled push, and then Olajide opened into the net. Alright, so there's going to be 4 tables of the Para showcase, so I don't know which tables are on which yet. Hold on, well maybe I do, let me look. I can see the groups. Okay, yeah, I see the matchups. So, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we get Grace Williams of the UK versus Kanlaya Chaiwut Kriabklang from Thailand. And then that's table 1. Table 2 is Thu Kami Comics Sumafu from France versus Elena Ellie. And then the table 3 is the player from Chile I was talking about, Florencio Perez, versus a player from Brazil, Leticia Lacerda. So that should be an interesting one to watch. That's table 3 at 9 p.m. I'll definitely pull that one up. You can watch all this on the WTT YouTube. Table 4 at that same time, Sophia Arloy versus Lucy Altair. Okay, so those are the 4 tables. The first match are the women's singles events, and then the next matches are the men's singles from their groups. So I see Maxime Nikolenko versus Borna Zohil, Clement Berthier versus Maxime Chudzicki, Billy Shilton versus Lee Kalabjia Schwan, and then Victor Diduk, the first seed. He's playing a player from Thailand. The player's name is long enough to be abbreviated here, but last name is Fizit. So, Diduk versus Fizit for the 4th of the first round of men's matches. Then they continue with the group play, it looks like. Yeah, they continue with group play at the second session, kind of later in the night. I forget exactly, maybe like 2 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah. And then there's more matches tomorrow night, same time for the 2 sessions. So they play their group matches, and semifinals are, well, Wednesday in Singapore, but Tuesday night on the East Coast. Yeah. And the finals will be Wednesday morning East Coast or Wednesday afternoon Singapore time. So that'll be interesting. They play the groups and they play the semifinals and finals for the women's singles and the men's singles. That's the WTT Para Showcase. I'll put that on there. WTT Singapore Smash Para Showcase. And that's tonight in about less than an hour, right? Yeah, 45 minutes. The countdown is on. I gotta figure out what rubber I'm gonna put on the other side of this one, because now I've decided I don't want to put, that thing is 80. And if you're just joining me, I'm watching the MLTT showcase on CBS Sports. I found it on YouTube TV. If you have CBS Sports on cable or other, I think some places have it on the other channel or the subscription services. Or you can just go watch the matches from Westchester on YouTube. It won't be the same presentation though. I'm gonna see what rubber I can use on this forehand. I'll be back. This is how it's gonna be Roxa 7. I'll have to look for a Roxa 7 because Roxa 7 works well on this blade. Works well for many people, and I always make these rackets so they'll kind of work for the most people. Or actually, not the most people, but the most situations makes sense. But I'll see what else I have in here. I need a black rubber because if you have a blue rubber or other color rubber on one side, you have to have a black rubber on the other side. So you can't have like red and blue. You have to have black and blue or whatever the other color is. So that rules out certain rubbers. One time I played Roxa 7 soft on this blade and it was pretty good, especially on the backhand it felt good. But I think Roxa 7 is good too. That's what I'm looking for. And I'll assemble that on there soon. If you're just joining, you can see the blue long pips. It's kind of a crazy looking rubber. My friend gave it to me, so I appreciate that. I'm gonna build a little racket that we can use. And I'm watching MLTT on CBS Sports. And I'm not AI generated, but I do tend to repeat myself every 10 minutes or so once a new person comes around showing us watching, so you have an idea of what I'm doing. Right now I'm looking for a Roxa 7 rubber to put on this. Well, I think I just found one. Let's see. I stick the rubbers in these cartons, but I've noticed sometimes on the cardboard part it gets stuck a little too much. Alright, so this is Roxa 7 thick, meaning it's 2 millimeter. Yeah, 2 millimeter, not max, because max would say super thick. So that looks good. I'll put that on. It looks like it'll fit just fine. I can move it up just a little bit actually. I think. Something like that, but it doesn't have to move up quite that much actually. I think that's good. That way I save the Digmix 80 for practice stuff, because that's what I use on my backhand. So I want to have as many of those around as possible to use with the robot or return board or server. And keep my main set of things for practice and tournaments. I have a tournament next weekend, so I've been practicing a lot the past week. You can see my live streams of that stuff, practice for my club. And then I'll keep practicing throughout the week, but I won't push super hard, most likely. And then I should be playing a lot of matches next weekend, like 25 or so, over the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I hope to do all right, at least. We'll see. If you're watching, let me know if you like Mltt or WTT, or if you play tournaments, if you like racket assembly, or if you like table tennis. I'm going to take a little bit, well, I don't know. I could mess with this rubber a little bit until it's time to assemble something. But if you want to see me assemble it, just let me know in the comments. I'll start putting it together. I have other videos of the racket assembly, so that's not the priority here. I'm trying to get this, well, actually I'm just trying to promote the Mltt and the WTT Para showcase. That's, you got me. Normally I title the stream watching glue dry, so you know it's going to be boring, and I don't have, like, you don't have any expectations of me entertaining you. But I didn't put that as the title today, so you're in luck. I've got 1 like. Once I get 2 likes, I'll assemble the racket. I think that's fair. So when you're getting glue off rubber like this glue is cooperating quite well. It's just taking a long time, so I'm just keep doing it. But sometimes it starts to pull up the sponge. Let me show you because I had this rubber from a stream previously, and I wanted to show the progress anyway. So that's the one I had a while ago that I put all those layers of glue and then pulled it out. I didn't do like the best job ever, but it's not. I don't know if you can see. There's little holes in the sponge, but at least the little holes in the sponge, they'll lay flat on a blade when you put it on, so it works for a while. Whereas if it's got glue strands sticking all out, it won't lay flat, so that messes it up. I'll just put it on some of my basic blades for someone to practice with a little bit. We need to get people some blades to practice with sometimes. Okay. So right now it's Kasahara and Macbeth in doubles versus Adi Serene and Lubomir Pistache. And Lubomir and Adi as a doubles team have been really, really good together. It's kind of interesting, like a younger player and then a lot more experience. But also, on the other hand, Kasahara and Macbeth are a fun doubles team together too. So I'd say these are pretty exciting doubles teams to watch. The Florida Crocs, now they have Andy Pereira. Andy Pereira is a left-hander, and him and Gorak played well in doubles together. That was fun. And they're in the Tampa Bay area, so hopefully they'll practice again in our club. We have some videos from their practice session before. And Daniel Gorak, he was in the background of one of my videos that you could look for if you want. Always open to feedback on what type of videos you want to watch. So, I know there's a few people watching right now. Let me know if you're here in the comments, if you have any questions, or if you know about Mltt or WTT, or if someone likes the video, I'll assemble a racket. Until then, I'm peeling this glue off this rubber because I have to get this off so I can reuse it. So game 1, Lubomir Pistache and Adi Serene, they won the Seattle Spinners team. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, they played together a lot this season in Mltt, so they've got good chemistry. Or actually, I think chemistry is more like if you haven't practiced together that much and you play well, whereas if you practice together a lot, then it's kind of different. But it still matters. You see, I got this hat in Chile when I went to the Pan American Games in 2023. So the Pan American Games were in Santiago, Chile. And that's actually where I got to see a lot of these players perform, both in the Pan American teams event and the para events, both individual and doubles. It was a lot of fun. Florencia Perez, who will be competing in the women's singles, she won gold in Class 8 there, as I mentioned earlier. So that's kind of the first big event I saw her playing. She's real good. But the Chilean para team came to the U.S. Para Open in Fort Worth, Texas, the summer of 2023. So that's when I got to watch a lot of them play too. And Chile is really big on table tennis, as I already mentioned in another stream, but they're really supporting their para team, which is really interesting. They built a whole kind of para training center, and you can tell they've got a lot of resources, or they're putting a lot of resources into the training, and they're treating them like full-time, professional players. They even, I think, got them some of the athletes set up with their own apartments or houses type thing through the programs, and that's pretty cool. If you can support yourself with table tennis and get your place set up and then get lots of sponsorships and compete internationally. And I think in the case of Florencia Perez, she's here in the WTT Singapore Smash Para Showcase, so she's getting to go to Singapore, share the same stage with players like Wang Chuqin, and all those players, the best in the world basically. And in a bit, once the para starts and we turn on, I'll look for some more stats because I know the Victor Didic guy has won the big events. I don't want to say like which ones he won and when he did it unless I really know. I know he's a special player, so let's see. It would be neat if at one of the next Smash events they would do the para showcase and we get to see some classes 1 through 5 wheelchair players, maybe whatever classes they felt like doing. So yeah, 30-minute countdown until the para showcase starts. I'll put that on the main TV. So now they're showing the third singles match of the Mltt thing. Amy Wong versus Deborah Vivarelli. So Deborah Vivarelli is from Italy. Amy Wong from the U.S. They both were in the Singapore Smash, but Amy Wong, like I said, lost to Adriana Diaz. And I think Deborah Vivarelli was in it. Maybe not. Maybe she was in qualifying, or maybe she wasn't. So there's been very little tiny places where the glue pulled up the sponge just a bit. Otherwise, it's coming along nicely. Let me know if you're watching any of this stuff. We could talk about it. We could discuss it. So let's see, Amy Wong won the first 2 games pretty clearly. She's trailing in the third. But I'm not sure who wins the third one. I know I watched this though. I wonder what people's suggestions are to make table tennis, particularly Mltt, more popular and catch on a little more in the US. Both with casual table tennis players and people who aren't familiar with competitive table tennis at all, really. So I would differentiate those because, people who just play for fun in the club, they're aware of competitive table tennis, but maybe they'd never watch it, pretty much. But there's a lot of people that don't even know it exists, which is interesting because, like, in the U.S., so many people have played ping pong for fun growing up at some point in their life, so everyone, has had a racket in their hand playing for fun, this and that. But so few even are aware. Just in the Olympics, I watched the Olympics a lot and I didn't really know about it. I don't know how that happened. They had the trampoline jumping going. So we're getting there on this rubber. We'll move on pretty soon. Just removing the old glue. This was a rubber that I took off my racket yesterday because it has a little cut in it, but I'm saving it for next time I have to replace the rubbers on my backup racket. So 7-4, Deborah Vivarelli is leading in the third. If you were to describe the playing styles of the players, Amy Wong is very much, she uses the other player's speed and stuff against him with quick timing and wide angles and strong, kind of flatter hits off the bounce, whereas Vivarelli is more of a power topspin player, a little later timing, more forehand oriented, even though still balanced. But Amy is definitely, her backhand's her biggest strength, and then she kind of finishes it with the forehand flat hits more. Definitely Amy Wong has done better overall in Mltt than Deborah Vivarelli. Almost there. So now it's 8-6. She serves backhand serve, kind of low to the middle, and then Amy tries to spin it and goes long. And so a little bit of the sponge came up here in this part, but that's bound to happen a little bit here and there when you're doing this. So definitely, if you're out there, say something in the chat. Or don't. Glad you're here. That's my club, Sunrise Table Tennis Club over there. You can come visit us sometime in Clearwater. So you can see that's all that glue out of there that was already there from when I had my racket. A few little divots here and there, but overall that's good. The sponge itself is in really good shape because I've only been using it a couple weeks. It's just that it got cut on the table, so I'll save this, put it on one of my rackets soon enough. That's actually why I decided I'm not using this Dignics 80. Now I have this Dignics 80 is actually in worse shape because it was used a lot longer, and the sponge was all messed up when I took it off the racket, but it'll work on something. Let's see, put this like that. Clean enough. Let's see. All right. Probably assemble this racket here in a second, as we got half hour left to Mltt, half hour to go until the Paris showcase. I don't have the technology to show you the events, but you can find them CBS Sports for Mltt, and then YouTube for WTT Singapore Smash, both the Paris showcase and the main draw, round of 64 stuff, which is gonna be good. All right. Stuff ready. I'm going to declutter the workspace a little bit. Let's see, so we'll put the hat up here. Let's see, I think I already talked about all the stuff that I was saying. Oh yeah, I was going to check out the rankings for the para players on the IPTTC website. But as far as I know, I already looked at all the rankings actually, and there's, like I said, the first seed is the top rated in the world, and then second is Francia Perez, and then the other players. And they're playing groups tonight, and then they'll have, once they qualify, they make the semifinals and finals. Singapore Smash round of 64. A lot of good matches coming up in the next few hours. If you're here, say hi. That's all I got. All right. Alright, so you can see this blade's a little bit old. It's kind of beat up. This is actually the first kind of special blade I ever bought when I first started, when I learned about like competitive table tennis as a very beginner, and I went online and read reviews. And when you read on reviews as a beginner, you don't really know what you're looking at, and people who are commenting are typically experienced players. So when they talk about something being fast or slow or this or that, it's not really meant for a beginner to look at and try and figure out what they need. But nevertheless, I bought this blade, a 7-ply wood blade, kind of like an offensive minus blade. And then I had kind of bouncy jewel rubbers, I forget, riser or something. So it was very fast, and trying to play with a beginner was tough, but I used it for a little while. And now I'm going to put some long pips on the backhand and this Roxa 7 on the forehand. Like I said, I played with Roxa 7 soft on one side before, and it was nice. So I think Roxa 7 will be good. And I want to be able to play it on both sides, twirl around. I want Roxa 7 soft is kind of nice to play, but this will be a little more versatile as far as blocking and even chopping. It's like a little more predictable, especially when you play against people who are better and more spin. I don't think Roxa 7 really has any real, what I would call weaknesses. It's just not like spectacular in certain areas like the other rubbers, but the rubbers that are more spectacular in certain areas do have drawbacks in terms of control or this or that. But Roxa 7 is solid, so I would definitely recommend Roxa 7 on both sides of an all-around blade as one beginner setup, or let's call it advanced beginner setup. Or you could also use the Axiom Vega Europe on both sides. I think both those rubbers are kind of medium. Let's call them medium. It's not medium hardness, like it's soft / medium, but medium, 47 degrees. The Vega Europe's softer, but it feels similar enough. If you go too soft, then it starts to act differently. And too hard also. Unless you were learning on like a Chinese forehand rubber. You were going to do it properly with a coach or really physical exercise and training maybe. Otherwise, yeah, Roxa 7. It's durable, it's affordable, it's Roxa 7. Like I said, it's 2mm. I'm going to try. Last time I didn't do enough trying to figure out how to stick it on the blade as perfectly as I could, so I want to see how it lines up. It's mostly going to cover it. It'll be alright. So I'm going to do that side first. I'm going to do, I mean, we have so much time, I might as well just do 2 layers on it, right? We'll see. I'll do the first layer and figure it out. So this is a sponge I used yesterday. It's kind of gross. But I'm going to change my strategy today. I'm not going to double it up. Just going to go like that. Keep it simple. Okay, real quick. Right now they got Artur Abusev of the Texas Smash playing Lubomir Kostadinov. It's much singles 4. Okay, so Lubomir won the first 2 games. I remember this was exciting, but Lubomir was playing really well. So Artur Abusev, he's a chopper, a new player for season 2. Really exciting. Because he does his chopping, but then his forehand is like kind of unique when he counters. And his backhand chop's super spinny. He gets his wrist like all the way back. So he's fun to watch. I think I have things ready. Maybe I'll just do a good layer. Last time when I was talking about putting a rubber that has a little curl to it, I said don't put a lot so it doesn't pull up, but that rubber didn't stick as well as I would like. So I'm just going to go with more glue. And I'll do 1 layer, I think, actually. I've decided. It already has like a little stickiness to it from the old glue, so there's no reason to overdo it. Like I said, this is more glue than I put on the other day when I had a used rubber, so you definitely use less. Mainly you just don't want it to pool up in the center. Kind of spread it evenly. Spread it a few different ways. And just make sure, yeah, it doesn't get too oversaturated in any area. Make sure you get the edges, because you need those to stick down. Those are actually kind of the problem areas sometimes, so. Yeah, this definitely works better with the sponge, so keep it simple. Alright, that's good. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. There's just enough glue left over from that to do it. I probably could use a little more, but I think it's okay. Same idea, just make sure it covers all the parts and it's applied evenly. That's pretty good. And definitely with the blade, always be careful. Like if you don't put a ton and then you're spreading it all around for a little while, it's gonna dry out eventually. So don't push it as far as the time frame. Just kind of spread it around once it's pretty good. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. It's good. That's enough. So I'm gonna let those dry. It'll take like 15 minutes probably, something like that. I'll put that on with the one layer. Then I'll do this same thing. I'll keep watching a little bit of this table tennis stuff on here. And if anyone ever wants to comment, let me know. So if you're watching, I just put the glue on these things. I'll glue that in like 10-15 minutes. Then I'll glue that. Mltt on CBS Sports. But now we're getting ready for the WTT Singapore Smash Para showcase. And that will be in less than a half hour on the WTT YouTube. So I recommend checking it out. Not sure what type of links I can put in the chat, but I'm going to start sending links so you can find the WTT Para showcase. WTT Global, so I think I was saying the wrong YouTube for their at, but anyway, World Table Tennis, WTT Global, 1.1 million subscribers, 35,000 videos. I thought I had a lot of videos. As usual, the glue on the blade has dried quicker. And it's taking a while on that one still. Let me know what you think about the blue rubber, what you think about long pips, what you think about putting a blue long pips rubber on this racket. Is Roxa 7 the greatest, let's say, mid-range rubber or advanced beginner rubber ever? So it's 10-5 Seattle Spinners versus Texas Smash. And they go into the Golden Game. The Golden Games were 6 points, so technically Texas Smash still have a chance. So if they were to win, they could get to 11. But they'll start the Golden Game with a 5-point deficit due to the points difference in the team score. Let's see what pairs they choose. You know, a lot of times the matchups are the same as the singles, but sometimes the coaches will switch it up to try and find an advantage here and there. I think it's definitely really, the Golden Game is so important, and just having a few point advantage, you know, they show the stats, but it's still a small sample size, so I think you really got to strategize well for the Golden Game, and don't worry about if you're down like 3 points or this or that. Some of the coaches are smart, like if there's a 3-point difference, then the first pair only plays 1 point, so they typically choose someone they're not as like trying to have play quite as much, because normally if you're going to have your people play a first full cycle, they would play the most points on average, that kind of full group, but if it's just 1 point, then it's less. So you could put a matchup you don't like as much for that 1 point that starts, then the best matchup, ideally, or your best player second, with a 3-point difference. So that best player, if it gets to 2020, I think it works out that they would be back, or not, maybe not 2020, but they'd be back again towards the end of the game. So it's Amy Wong versus Deborah Vivarelli again. And Seattle leads 6-1. You guys ever watch the YouTube channel Beard Meets Food? He goes around and does eating challenges around the world, but a lot of times in the US, which is neat. He's from England. He eats a ton, so it's always fun to watch. And the food he eats actually looks really tasty, but it's just huge amounts. Trying to look at some of the matches from Singapore Smash already, find some highlights. I'll watch a little bit of this Julian Chorizo guy from Romania, player who's playing really well, so let's see what type of stuff he's up to. David Macbeth, Texas Smash, playing versus Olajide Matayu of the Seattle Spinners in the Golden Game. Right now, Macbeth serving at 8-5, or 5-8 actually. So Texas is going on a run here. They're at 6-8. It's a comeback in the making. Could it be? So Olajide gets the next point. Now he's leading 9-6, or the Spinners are leading 9-6. So the Golden Game, you know, there's the pairs, and they rotate every 4 points. Oh, he gets 2 more points, though. 10-6. Now it's Kasahara versus Lubomir. I don't know if you can see, it's still drying. You can still see the glue, so I can let it dry some more. It dried quickest in the center and stayed on the edges. Wow. Yeah, that was a crazy rally at 10-7 that Lubomir wins. A lot of back and forth, both sides. Finishes with a big backhand away from the table. So it's 11-7 with the serve. He serves long, kind of not really reverse pendulum, but that right side spin to the forehand, and Kasahara hooks it wide right from our perspective. Good return from Kasahara, so now it's 8-12. Nanda Naresh has the serves against Cole. Cole's been, well, he was really solid season one, like really solid, and he's still playing well, but he's been a little bit not wishy-washy, but hasn't been doing quite as well lately. Ooh, he catches the back edge, so he gets the first 2 points so far. Now it's 14-8. And then Cole does this patented reverse pendulum serve and gets the error there, so now it's looking more and more difficult. I'm actually going to try to find that Tomislav Pucar match versus Joe Chihao, because that would be fun to watch. Tomislav, he's always been interesting. He's been around for a while now, watching him. He always seemed like he was really good and could do better, but it hasn't worked out quite in the big events. They have one channel has the matchup. It's not edited, so I have to sit through it, but it's 20 minutes, that's fine. So yeah, it's Tomislav Pucar versus Joe Chihao from this WTT Smash. This was a round of 64. I think it happened like last night, well, this morning kind of. And I mean, Joe Chihao, he surged for a bit there to the top of the game, but was inconsistent and kind of went back down. So even though he hasn't really had as many results lately, you would still expect him to do a little better. Well, not a little better, but you'd expect to see him deep in tournaments more often. It looks like he's wearing kind of like a back, maybe a back brace, but kind of a wrap around his abdomen, so maybe he has an injury. Kind of interesting to see him out here with something like that. So Tomislav Pucar, he was one of the first players who I watched, and I was like shocked that he was always serving reverse pendulum. I guess he serves the backhand serve a good amount too. Kind of that like high elbow, real spinny step around forehand there. That was good. Yeah, I'll have to start watching some more of Pucar again because I think his game is really nice. He plays in the TT Star tournament sometimes, so does well there. But obviously, he should be at this level more often. He has a real good backhand from like all over around the table, and kind of plays more in that backhand stance. I mean, it's getting there. I don't think this is going to dry completely clear, to be honest, because of the old glue. I'm going to give it a little more time. So Tomislav Pucar starting out 6-0 up in this first game against Joe Chihao. Yeah, you could find the highlights online. So now, somehow it's got to 15-15 for the Mltt. They made a big comeback. I was distracted. But now they're tied, so it's anyone's game, and whoever wins the golden game is going to win the match. That's why every point counts in the matches, and the golden game counts so much. Those are the rules. Those are the rules. It's Adi Serene serving to Artur Abusev. Serves long, gets the chop, and then it goes in the net. Oh no, he serves long, gets the push, loops it, and then the chop goes into the net. Artur chops twice over the table with the backhand. Chopping, chopping, chopping. Gets the push, chopping, looping, chopping, pushing, chopping. Ooh, finally, Adi sends the forehand long, and Abusev gets the point. So it's 16-16. Artur Abusev, he chops like this. Ooh, David Macbeth The first point against Mltt here. It's a big one. He has the serve, so I don't know. Something's a brewing here. A big comeback, possibly. 18-16, Texas is up. Now Mltt has got the serves. You can see some emotion from Macbeth. He's fired up. Ooh, big forehand from Mltt. Macbeth misses the counter. Now it's 17-18. Also, yeah, open from Macbeth, counter from Mltt, and then the recounter was missed. Ooh, the Macbeth kind of fake push pancake flips out wide on the forehand versus the short serve. No one's home. 19-17, Kasahara's got the serves. Pistage on the receive. Serves long to the middle. Pistage pivots, tries to play the forehand but slips on the floor. Man down, man down. Ooh, yeah, his ankle kind of gave out on him a little bit there, hopefully. I think he was okay, but he was saying it was a little slippery there, maybe. But that just seems like his ankle got caught up on the floor. Happens to the best of us. Kasahara with match point, 2017. Misses the serve. Tried to go for a real spinny, tight serve to the forehand, looked like. Real tight to his body and just got jammed up. Ooh, Pistage serves. It looked like a fake underspin kind of bouncy ball, but it was heavy. Apparently gets pushed in the net. 19-20, he serves. Timeout. Texas Smash. Coach George Bitsigayo. George Bitsigayo was at the U.S. Open coaching Canuck Jaw to his U.S. Open victory. He was also coaching the Texas Smash to their championship victory in Season 1 through an iPad. Probably better in person, though. So Putzar's up 10-8 in the first game here. Does his little backhand serve from the forehand corner. Jiho spins it to the forehand and he counters it big time. That's interesting. It's fun when that works out, right? You serve the short backhand serve, they kind of spin it to your forehand and you just unload on it. I've been trying that more lately. Oh, Tomislav wins the first game, 11-8. Kasahara with a big backhand topspin. Pistage blocks it. Kasahara spins it back. Gets the forehand pivot. Ooh. Golden point, yeah, so that hit the side, fortunately. It was really close to an edge, but it was the side. So now it's Nandan Naresh with the serve versus Cole, 20-20 for the match. Serves, Cole. Oh, he counters Cole. Gets the win. Texas empties the bench, runs out. They all celebrate. Fun times. That was big. So Texas Smash wins the overall match 11-10 after getting the 6 points from the Golden Game to close that 5-point deficit. Looks like a lot of people enjoyed that Golden Point. The ultimate Golden Point, technically, because it's a Golden Point in the Golden Game to win the match. It all comes down to that point. So good job to the Texas Smash. And it's 9 o'clock, which means it's time for the WTT Paris Smash. I'll have to stop watching Tomislav versus Joe Chihao for now. I'm going to try to find... Well, I'll put up a few tables, but I'm going to go to Victor Didek's table because I'm curious. So let me know if you like Mltt, if you saw any of that on CBS, if you watch WTT, and if you're familiar with para table tennis. You know, what do you think about it? Are you watching? So they haven't started quite yet, but the streams are up on YouTube. At WTT Global, you find the WTT Singapore Smash Para Showcase. schedule again. Okay, so the Major League Table Tennis on CBS Sports. It was bull riding before it, and now it's the World Poker Tour. So I mean, honestly, those are a step up for sure. Professional Bull Riding Tour (PBR) and WTT World Poker Tour. When they did the ESPN showcase on ESPN2, it was next to the Slippery Stairs. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's a big staircase with slippery stuff on it, and people try to race up it. I believe there was the World XL Championship, so it was like completing tasks in Microsoft Excel. Well, what is it? The corn game, cornball, corn toss. But that's pretty cool. Those guys are so good at the corn toss. I don't know why I can't think of the name of it, but they're really good at throwing it. I'm not good at that. So that's actually a cool one. But anyway, this was a step up. CBS Sports. Looking forward to the future for Mltt on there. Hopefully we get some live matches. They said they have some exclusive highlights, player interviews, things like that. I would definitely watch more of that. So yeah, hopefully a lot of people watched it. CBS will show more Major League Table Tennis. So if you're watching now, the WTT Singapore Smash Para Showcase is just starting on the WTT Global Channel, or WTT World Table Tennis. On table 3 is the player Florencia Perez from Chile. I was talking about Chile, and Leticia Lacerda from Brazil. So they're playing in the women's singles group 2. There's 4 tables total. Florencia is in class 8. I think it's a class 8 tournament, if I'm being honest, for this, but I'm going to check that. If you're watching and you're familiar with para table tennis, tell me about it. If you're not familiar with it, tell me about it so I can tell you about it. I think it's really interesting. The first time I saw people playing table tennis in wheelchairs, I was pretty amazed just how good the game adapts to being seated in a wheelchair, with like basically no rule adjustments outside of a few small serve changes. The game itself like works amazingly well, and then the technical skills and stuff transfer to make it really exciting and fast paced. And all the players in the para classes, they're very, creative in how they've solved certain challenges, let's say, and their styles and how they play and the shots they've focused on and how they set up their game. Florencia plays short pips, I think. Well, I know it's on one side, but I kind of forget what side. I'm not familiar with the other women's players in these, and I was really only familiar with one of the male players, the Victor Diduk. So let's see. He's class 8. He's from Ukraine. Let me see. He won a gold medal at the 2016 Summer Paralympics. This is Victor Diduk from Ukraine. He won the 2016 Summer Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro, class 8, defeating the Swedish team. Oh, so that was men's team, class 6 to 8. And then he also won a silver medal at the 2020 Summer Paralympics. He lost to Zhao Shui in the men's class 8 final. And he won a gold medal at the 2024 games, beating Zhao Shui in the class 8 final. So in para, at the very top of the classes, a lot of times you'll see the same players winning the big events, at least for a few years, let's say. So this would be neat. Okay, I've seen this player from Brazil play in the Pan American Games, I believe. I'm not super familiar with either one, of course, but they play well. It should be interesting. To me, I think Florencia can win this showcase. She's the second seed. She's won big events. And she's only 15, so she's obviously getting better all the time. Like I said, Chile supports their para athletes a lot, but also Brazil has a huge para program in table tennis in general. So Brazil has the numbers. Brazil puts in the time, and their team trains a lot, and they have a lot of good players. So it should be a good match. Certainly rooting for these Pan American athletes. Let's see, Leticia. turn the sound on just a bit. I think it's okay. Ooh, okay. Alright, this is definitely ready. Probably too ready. Anyway. Get centered. Oops, moving up just the smallest amount. Pretty good. When you're putting it on when it's already kind of bent a bit, it's not going to be perfect, and anything that's like on the glue or sponge, it's going to make it look a little bit imperfect. But it looks pretty good. Yes. So they're still warming up in this match on table 3. I'm going to open up the other match, or one other match or two on the other, on my computer just to check it out. So just rolling a rubber, getting attached. That was the Roxas 7. It's pretty good. Not going to cut it or mess with it for now until it's set on there a little better. Let that sit on there. Alright, they're about to start the match. Okay, so I'm pretty sure Florencia plays short pips on the backhand. It's a blue rubber like this. I always say, actually, to pips players that when they use a different colored rubber for the pips, it kind of sets off alarm bells in my head. It's like, oh, those are the pips. So I don't know if it's actually the best strategy. Maybe you should just use a regular red or black rubber, so people don't like think it's different. They won't look at your racket so much. All right, some good rise. I'm guessing the other player. Let me see. They look like smooth rubbers. The red is smooth. Yeah, so I believe. Oh, but maybe she plays black rubber on the backhand, so maybe that's the pips. Can't see. So Florencia, when she serves, she holds the ball in her racket hand and serves from there. Certain classes have different specific rules about serving. For the seated classes, if you're serving, your serve has to either go over the end line, meaning it can't go off the sides of the table, and if it's a short serve that bounces, it has to eventually roll off the end line. It can't roll back towards the net or roll backwards. Those are the only rules that change for serving. So you'll see, like in the lowest classes, they'll serve and they'll try to serve it super short, so it just barely gets where the net bounces, and then eventually, after enough bounces, it'll roll off the end of the table. Like a super heavy backspin serve wouldn't work because it would roll into the net, it wouldn't count. So they also they'll try and serve real close to the sideline, but it's still within, and then the player has to kind of guess whether they should play the serve or not, and that's tough. Right now it's 3 serving 5. Leticia is serving to Florencia. Definitely recommend checking out some of the para showcase. Alright, it's time to put on my long pips. I have the short pips racket too. It was fun to play with. I don't know if I mentioned on stream, the short pips racket. It worked pretty well. So I got the pips here. You never quite know how everything's going to go, but I'm sure the pips and the sponge will be similar. We have a slight pause in the action. I think player might have hit her racket on the table a little bit, so she's just having the umpire check it out, but she may have hurt her hand a little bit. Leticia from Brazil. small little break in the action there. I'll get this started. That's good enough. So I'm gluing the blue long pips rubber onto the backhand of this blade. I just put the Roxa 7 on there. That was from another blade. This is a Eula Viva blade, 7-ply all wood blade. It's supposed to be like the Stiga Clipper. I've actually never used the Stiga Clipper, but I know it's kind of one of the well-known blades, kind of a benchmark for 7-ply blades. So if you have used the Stiga Clipper, it's like that. I'm only gonna do one layer, so I'll do some glue in here. It should be the last of the gluing. Yeah, so if you're interested in the assembly of rackets, then you can look at one of my other live streams that had more in-depth assembly discussion and equipment discussion. Honestly, the rubbers just came off this blade today, so I decided I would use this to make this long pips racket. Because I've been wondering what blade to use for the long pips for a bit. It's just for fun. I think for like playing and coaching and stuff, it's good to understand how long pips, short pips work, be able to play with them a little bit, especially like at least up to a beginner level, so you could theoretically help someone practice against it if you're training a beginner. A little bit of chopping, a little bit of pip stuff. My coach would do that with me, and it helped. So. Nowadays I've been practicing with a good amount of pips players. It really helps overall, so if you're wondering if you should, or if you're like a beginner and you're not like big on playing against pips players, just do it. Get used to the different balls and learning about the spin you're putting out and what's coming back. And ideally when you go play tournaments, then you won't be as frustrated when you play the pips players because they'll be there, and you just gotta do well against them. Little by little you learn how to serve to set up what you want against the pips people, or at least how to not mess you up. Like I serve a lot of side spin stuff normally, so when I used to play pips people, I'd still serve those serves and I'd always go into trouble. But now, kind of just simplify things. You serve some short, or you serve some underspin, some no spin, some top spin. You mostly avoid the side spin unless you can get it on their inverted side a good amount and they make mistakes a lot. Or if it's popping up and you can really kill it reliably, then why not do a little side spin, top spin. But if it's not high or easy and you're reaching and stuff, then when that side spin hits the pips, comes back, it's really funky and you'll make a lot of mistakes. So if you serve like dead ball, it comes back not with a ton of spin in each direction, kind of matters how they hit it. If they have good reversal on the pips, then you serve underspin, it comes back kind of light top spin. You serve top spin, it could come back light underspin or heavy underspin depending on how they hit it. So you have to figure out what you like attacking. Like I'm pretty good attacking underspin, so I don't mind if I play a top spin and then it comes back underspin, I don't mind. Sometimes I'll attack that one, but ideally actually I'll serve top spin sometimes the pips, or then push that, and then when it gets pushed back I'd attack that. off the inverted side. But if it was the pip side, then I guess you just have to get better at hitting the flat ball, which I am, but it takes time. So once that's clear, we'll put on the roller. It'll take another 10, 12 minutes. If you're watching and listening right now, I'm watching the Singapore Smash Para Showcase, but there's a pause in the action of this match on table 3 due to injury timeout. But it looks like maybe, yeah, they're getting started again. So we'll get started there. Definitely recommend checking out the Para Showcase and the Singapore Smash in general. If you have any favorite players, tell me about it. If you're listening to me talk and you want to chat a little bit, just say something. Or if you would prefer just some peace and quiet, I'd happily oblige. Just let me know. Edge ball, Fernando Perez up 7-3 now in the first game. I'll go find the scores online. Table 4, one player won the first game, the other player is up big in the second game, so that could end up being interesting. Also, the Infinity Arena, they're trading games. So maybe I'll pull up one of those. It's the Infinity Arena. So on the Infinity Arena table, that's table 1. They got Grace Williams versus Kenlaya Chaiwut Kriyabaklai. Looks like Grace Williams from the UK and Kenlaya is from Thailand. Thailand has a strong para team. They're sending a lot of players. I mean, China's got the top players in a lot of classes, and then Korea's very strong. But Thailand's been sending some good delegations out, let's say, and getting better and better. And then, yeah, for South America, Brazil is top, and then Chile's strong. In US, we have Class 3, we have Jensen Van Emberg. He's our strongest player there. And then Tal Leibowitz, and Logan Watson, and some other players. So yeah. A lot of interesting matchups in para table tennis. Florencia Perez won game 1, 11-4. Like I said, I think she'll do well in this event, so I would expect her to win here and advance from her group and go on from there. Her and the top seed should be on opposite sides of the draws, I would guess. So we'll see. I've got Infinity Arena up on my computer. I'm watching that. Just have a few more minutes. I'm done gluing. Done with that. I'm gonna use that. Just looking at the other matchups now and the scores. 2 of the 4 matches are now 1-1. One of them, the person trailing is leading in deuce, it looks like. And now, in this matchup, Leticia is leading game 2. So, definitely some, even matchups, good entertainment. I recommend checking it out. Alright, yeah, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-0, but it's close. So with the pips on the backhand, a lot of good control, a lot of good returns. I suppose I don't actually know they're short pips. Maybe I'm wrong. I could have been guessing. But for some reason I was thinking that. So 6-4, Leticia is leading game 2. This is just about ready. I can still see the glue a little bit, so I'm going to give it a little more time. For this one with the pips, I can't really use the roller in the same way with force, so I'm just going to lay it gently, smooth it out with the roller, but I'm not doing too much. Okay, so the player from Brazil has turned the momentum around here in game 2, 9-5. She's fired up. A lot of quick pushes off the bounce. They use their forehands to spin. 9-6. Florencia Perez kind of holds through the rally. Good defense again. Now she's 7-9 with her serves. Good blocks over the table, and then the goal is to get a high ball to finish with the forehand. Good backhand punch there, out wide to the forehand. 8-9. Oh, she misses the punch this time into the net. So now it's 10-8. Leticia serving. This is table 3 of the Singapore Smash Paris Showcase. I recommend going to check it out. It's free on YouTube. It's on the WTT YouTube channel. So if you're here listening to me talk and you're watching the Paris Showcase, let me know. If you're watching me assemble this racket, let me know. Okay, so now it's 1-1 here also. So all 4 of the para matches started 1-1 in this women's group for the first round. So that's kind of shows you just how evenly matched a lot of these players are. And we'll see how it goes. All right, this is ready to go. So I'll put the blue pips on. The Yin He Moxa 955. Let's see. This also has a little marking to show you where the middle is. I could just lay it down all the way, but I'd rather use this just. So this would be cool. This is a gift from a friend since I was helping him with his rackets. My goal is, this has a little bit of sponge, but you could use it's long pips. So on the 7-ply blade, I think it'd be good, for both things. You can block over the table a bit with it, but also chop with it. I think, so it'll be fun to play with. I like practicing the chopping some, and the pips over the or the blocks over the table are fun too. They're really useful because that's tough when a player does that. Yeah, this thing looks cool. Look at these pips on the racket. Let's see if you can see it in the stream. I'll try to find a good angle. They're pretty cool. This blue rubber with the pips. It's got like 0.7 sponge. It's Yinhe. Let's see if I can find a good angle to show you. Kind of cool. Pips attack of the long pips. Milky Way, Yinhe, tomato. Anyway, I'm not even a pips player, but there it is. Scared off my one viewer with the pips. I swear. Anyway, actually, I'm not going to cut it quite yet. That's not bad. I'm going to give it a second to set. Push it down just a bit, but with the pips you got to be careful. You don't want to break them. So here. Anyway, yeah, I'll save that for a second. I'm going to cut that, and then I'll cut the little bits of rubber that were hanging off since it wasn't like perfectly shaped. But that's the tough part done, so that's done gluing. That's my club, Sunrise Table Tennis Club in Clearwater, Florida. Recommend checking us out, sunrisetabletennis.com. All levels and ages welcome. Got fun practice. We do tournaments every once in a while. We're trying to see if we can get an Mltt event in the Tampa Bay area. So I'm thinking if I say it each time, eventually it'll happen. You can see I decorated this table with another piece of side tape. So one day it'll all be covered as I mess with rackets in a week or two. Now it's 1-1, 3-3 in Game 3 between Florencia Perez of Chile versus Leticia Lacerda of Brazil. Definitely a big rivalry between Brazil and Chile in the Pan American stuff. I would say Brazil was such a powerhouse, like dominating everything for a while, that it wasn't. I mean, it was just Brazil and everyone else. Both regular competition because of Hugo and even the other players from Brazil, Viti or Ishii, Eric Joti, those guys are so strong. And then, but now, the players, from Chile and other countries are stepping up. Definitely Chile, though. And U.S. and Canada is strong, too. So those are, like, the big, in my opinion, the big teams and big players at the moment in the Pan American side of things. Check out that mug. I knew it would come in handy one day. That's me playing ping pong in the mountains a couple hundred years ago during the gold rush, so it's historically accurate. You can check it out. I'll be right back. Yeah, this is definitely a backhand pips battle right now. This is heating up. Quick pushes off the bounce. Forehand finishes. It's 7-3 Florencia Perez in the third. if you're just joining me, I'm watching the Para showcase from WTT on their YouTube channel. You can go find it. I've put some links in the chat so you can go find it. Right on TV. I'm here. I'm assembling this racket. That's that. You can see that's like my sales pitch. Every time I see there's one extra viewer in chat, and then they disappear by the time. So I'm working on it. My elevator pitch. It'll get better, you know. I think if the food and beverage situation was improved, people would hang out. So I'm gonna have to figure that out pretty soon. What time is it? It's 9:30. It's an hour and a half till the beginning of the WTT matches after the Para showcase, which is coincidentally also when they replay the Mltt stuff on CBS Sports. So you could watch that then. Maybe I'll watch it simply to add to the viewership. It's my dedication to the cause. Oh yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna sit here for another hour and a half talking. We'll see. I have some clothes to fold, so I could do that while I leave them. That wouldn't be very interesting. Boom. Yinhe V14 Pro coming at ya. Dignix of some 09C both sides. Those are pretty old at this point. I put those on. I'm gonna clean that. I want to play with Dignix 09C every once in a while just to maintain the feel for it, because I do think it's a very interesting rubber. I played well with it at one point, well, like for a little bit, but also I realized that for my stage development it wasn't right for me then. But over time, you never know, maybe one day I'll go back to it. If there's any Dignix 09C users who watch this, let me know what you think. Have you committed to it? Will you always use it? Are you thinking about using it? Are you thinking about changing to something else? Florencio Perez won 11-4 in game 3. Yeah, this thing's really dirty now, so. I think the sponger's already a little messed up when I put it on here. All right. There's an outer ALC blade. You can see the carbon's close to the outside. So 2-1, Florencio Perez. If she wins this next game, she'll win 3-1, and then she would have to play another group match a little later, a few hours later. And I'll check the scores on the other ones. Next up, we have the men's singles first round of group matches. What's in the Infinity Arena. So Infinity Arena, we got 3-1. The player from Thailand beat the player from the UK. This one got some okay, actually I can just wipe this off. Something got on this rubber that I didn't realize, so I'm just cleaning that off. That's why I always recommend learning how to like glue rubbers and stuff, because then you can always just mix and match your old rubbers on different blades, try them out, do this and that, so you can get a little feel for stuff. I mean, I don't mean like always playing with them, like you gotta have your main stuff, but that's how you learn about equipment little by little without always having to buy new stuff. Dignix 09C is interesting because, I mean, this is still quite, I mean, no, it's tacky, I guess. So, and that's been there a while. You can see the hitting spot on it, but it's got good grip still. That's both sides 09C. You can hear the 09C is kind of dead sounding. I mean, these are pretty old though, but still not dead. But you hear that click, click, click on the blade. So on table 1, next up is Maxime Nikolenko versus Oeil Borna. fourth game is starting out close between Perez and Lacerda. The Brazilian player leads 4-2 at the first tie break. I think once I cut this, that's most of the random rubbers I have for assembly. I don't have any extra blades anyway, so there's nothing else. Unless I take rubbers off some old blades, which I might at some point. So I'm cutting the Pips rubber. Cut's mostly the same. It's got a little sponge, so it's not like it's a totally different thing. Just try to cut close to the blade, but don't cut the wood. Kind of, like I say, don't drag it through, and kind of keep it close, pulling it close to the wood. Don't pull it the other way away from the wood. That'll mess with the glue job. It's so flexible, it bent up and got glued to the side of the blade. So I have to peel that off. Alright, so look. Well, that's the other sponge on the side. I'll cut that in a second, but there's that. Alright. It's pretty good. You can see this line of pips kind of got cut directly straight across. That's a little odd. I guess it kind of happened here. Maybe that's the shape of the blade, or maybe I just didn't cut it perfectly. I think maybe I'll raise the blades better so you would get it for the pips. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll do the other side. So I can feel the sponge on this one's pretty hard. This is an old rubber. It's been sitting in that cabinet for a couple of years. But it's Roxas 7, so I trust it to do the job. So, you got the blue long pips rubber on this side. It's like 0.7 millimeter sponge, Yinhe Moxa 955. And on this side you got the Roxa 7 2 millimeter, older one. Got the black and blue combo. Feels good. This blade always feels good because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's like a slightly smaller head size compared to most blades, so it's a little bit light. It feels nimble, easy to maneuver. I mean, I guess also it has this Pips rubber on the back end, so that feels a little different to me since I'm not a Pips player, but you can feel the blade well with that. I think this will be fun to play with. So, that's the assembly. It's 5-5 in game 4. Push battle, then a missed forehand. So now Florencia leads 6-5. Okay, missed short return from Perez, and now it's 6-6. We'll see. A lot of these matches, you know, they definitely, like I said, narrow margin between competitors. They fight hard. Who knows? Could go to game 5. Let's see though. Anyway, that's this rubber. Do this here. Unless I search for more rackets to assemble, which I won't for now. Assembly's done. Oops. Sorry. So the men's match has started on table 1, which is the Infinity Arena. That'll be interesting to see. Let's see that. the fans from Chile and Brazil are in the chat on table 3 here. They always support their players a lot. I think that's, like I said, both countries have a great culture of table tennis, and the para programs are strong and their athletes are fierce. So they get to cheer their players on from across the world, really. That's very neat. You can hear the echoes of the cheers from the games. You hear it from the TV, and then the stream plays on my computer because I have volume on just a little bit so I can listen to the games. Yeah, maybe I'll stick around throughout. Okay, so Florencia Perez won her match 3-1. So that's her first group match. We'll see how the other ones go. I'm going to watch the Singapore Smash Para Showcase here. And then I'm going to watch the WTT Singapore Smash a little later. So thanks for listening. Hope you gained something of value from some part of this. And I'll see y'all later.